Hello and happy Tuesday, everybody. Here's what's coming up tonight on Now. President Trump is helping American farmers survive the ongoing trade war. Are Mainers going to get the relief they need or foot the bill for a very expensive Band-Aid?
And how much a landlord can ask about your disability before it's discrimination.
So I'm usually the one that frosts cupcakes.
Yeah.
You're usually baking.
Yeah.
Or say she's making the batter and then I'm
Or
like
I'm making
scooping
frosting.
it. We're just.
When siblings get along, the whole house seems sweet. The twins in Biddeford with their very own bakery.
Oh, I can't wait for that. This is News Center Now.
$12 billion of federal government aid headed to rural farmers. Good evening, everybody. I'm Lee Goldberg.
And I'm Lindsay Mills. This afternoon, the Trump administration announced what it calls a short-term solution to the devastating impacts of trade wars on farmers. And Christina Rex, it sounds like the administration is just handing billions of dollars to farmers. But is that true?
It kind of is, Lindsay and Lee. So several lawmakers are calling this a bailout, accusing the Trump administration of using your taxpayer dollars to pay for its mistakes. So here's a little background. President Trump has threatened increased tariffs on products from China, Canada, Mexico, and the European Union because he says it's time to get tough on trade. Now, the tariffs for China went into effect earlier this month, and China retaliated by imposing its own tariffs for 128 American-made products. Now, the large majority of these tariffed goods are food products, often grown or made by farmers. The Trump administration estimates a loss of $11 billion for U.S. farmers as a result of this trade war. That's why it's aiming at $12 billion without congressional approval at farmers through direct payments and purchasing programs. At a speech in Missouri today, the president asked farmers for their patience.
And the farmers will be the biggest beneficiary. Watch. We're opening up markets. You watch what's going on. Just be a little patient. They're all aiming at anybody that likes me.
So we have no shortage of farmers here in Maine. So how will this $12 billion program affect Maine farmers? Well, the U.S. Department of Agriculture says the money will go to farmers who produce soybeans, sorghum, corn, wheat, cotton, dairy, and hogs. Now, in Maine, farmers don't commercially produce sorghum or cotton, and there is one soybean farm. But this federal money will likely affect local farmers of corn, wheat, dairy, and hogs. And there's been no word yet on exactly how farmers can apply to get that money.
All right, I'm sure we'll have more details as they emerge. Thank you very much. Meanwhile, just this morning, President Trump tweeted that the tariffs are the greatest, praising them as a tactic in trade negotiations. This tweet drew widespread criticism, though, from lawmakers. Former CIA Director John Brennan tweeted that using tariffs as a blunt force instrument is short-sighted. Republican Senator Rand Paul says that if tariffs punish farmers, the answer is not welfare for farmers, it is to remove the tariffs. And Democratic Senator Chris Murphy out of Connecticut pointed out other ways that $12 billion could be spent, maybe public schools, teachers, or college education.
Okay, from the farms to the coast we go. Coastlines were just smothered by fog today. A lot of it, though, lifted. Bar Harbor was foggy late into the day, and really everyone was feeling that hot and sticky air, including myself.
Well, I was going to say, speaking of hot air, but I want to be nice, so it was too easy.
Like,
it's low-hanging fruit. I can't do it.
It's like when you say something terrible,
I didn't say it.
And you're like, just kidding.
I didn't say it.
I think that's how
I didn't officially say it.
Bar Harbor with fog. I don't think
who knew, right?
Ever seen that before. Much of the coastline was socked in. It was going back and forth with the fog. We didn't have that many showers. Most of them have been to our west, across New Hampshire. A couple of thunderstorms there in the Lakes region as well. The connection very clear still, all the way from the tropics up into northern New England. You know, you get a pattern like this once a summer, it seems, but the length, the duration of this one is much longer than I've ever seen, because we're going to continue into the weekend and perhaps into next week as well with the heat and the humidity. Temperatures aren't all that warm, right? We're in the 70s and some low 80s, but the dew points are really high, so that's driving some convection. Tonight the fog comes back in very thick along the coastline and all the way into the interior by tomorrow morning. We don't see as much sun tomorrow as we did today, and a couple more showers and storms. It gets much wetter, though, Wednesday night and into Thursday. And Thursday is close to a washout, at least. A lot of showers and thunderstorms, heavy downpours in there. We could see up to 2 inches of rain. Not all bad news, guys. There were a couple of nice days as we head into the weekend. We'll talk about that in the big picture pattern in a few minutes.
All right, Keith, thanks. The heroin epidemic threatens another young person's life. Sources tell Variety that singer and actress Demi Lovato was hospitalized for an overdose. This is a developing story, and we will keep you updated on our website and mobile app.
Does a landlord have the right to ask you about your disabilities? Wesley Warren says a Maine property manager is crossing the line, asking him questions in his apartment application that he thinks are questionable. And housing providers cannot discriminate based on a person's physical disabilities. We took his questions to the experts. These are the forms at the center of a debate. Questions for a doctor, asking what kind of specialized care Wesley Warren needs.
Example, how can they answer that question without getting into aspects of my disability?
These documents asked. Amy Sneerson is the executive director of the Maine Human Rights Commission. We showed her these forms.
That is pretty standard. To me, that looks like a form that someone who was familiar with the Maine Human Rights Act and disability law, they were aware of how far they could or couldn't go when they designed this form.
She says when a person with a disability makes a special request for a ramp or a live-in aid, the landlord can legally ask for proof that the accommodation is necessary. But they cannot ask for details about the disability.
How does that help with your disability? Why is it necessary for you to have that thing? Sometimes the housing provider will say, you haven't given me enough to be able to tell if it's necessary. That's legitimate for the housing provider to say, you need to give me something from your doctor that tells me you need a live-in provider.
A housing provider cannot demand to speak with a person's doctor directly.
That's sort of breaching their medical privacy.
However, they can send them questions in a number of ways.
If at some point the person with a disability says, I am not willing to give you more, you have everything that you need, then both parties are sort of at a stalemate.
The audacity to try to want to talk to my doctor without a specific consent.
Warren says he signed this general authorization form, giving the housing provider the right to contact just about anyone to verify this information. But the Human Rights Commission admits this particular document is very broad.
Sometimes you have to share some of your information to get that. And I think the question you're asking is how much do you have to share?
If you ever have a question about housing and discrimination, take your questions directly to the Maine Human Rights Commission. They are going to break it down for you. Toss things over to Samantha.
All right, so how many of you saw this receipt? It was in national news headlines, shared over Facebook, and started a lot of conversations about racism in America. The receipt says, "We don't tip terrorists" at the top, and circled the server's name, which was Cahill. So a lot of people were understandably angry about this. The restaurant in Texas even banned that customer from coming back, except the customer didn't write it. The server later admitted to his boss the entire thing was fake. So an exec at the Saltgrass Grill says that after further investigation, we have learned that our employee fabricated the entire story. The customer was invited back to our restaurant to dine on us. Racism is intolerable, and falsely accusing someone of racism is equally disturbing. So the server did apologize. He's taking some time to work on himself, but you guys didn't think the restaurant was really doing enough. So Brad says, I think the restaurant owes more than a free dinner. He would never go back if it were him himself. And David says he's not surprised this happened because of how divided the country is. Leigh and Lindsay, back to you.
All right, Samantha, thank you very much. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Ivanka Trump's clothing line is shutting down. Why the first daughter has decided to close her business.
Honestly, at first it was kind of embarrassing because they'll text me and they'll be like, "Is this you on this video?" And I'll be like, "Oh yeah, you saw it."
Video of a Maine girl opening a birthday present gets tens of thousands of views and scores her the trip of a lifetime.
Hey, Rachel. Does anybody have Rachel's ear?
Donna's watching from Mars Hill. Susan saying hi. Hey,
Michael,
Judy.
Do you have a way to get in touch with Rachel by any chance? Yeah.
Hey, Athena.
Have her get in my ear real quick.
Hey, Nicole.
Hey, Rachel, talk to Lee.
Hey, Joe. Hey, Paul. Hey, Kevin.
Can you check the newsroom channel of Slack about the story I just put in there? We might want to get that in. Thanks.
What happened?
Apparently an incoming freshman football player at the University of Maine died during preseason workouts today.
What?
Yeah.
That's horrible. Was it heat related or?
The
heart
statement just
thing?
came in, so.
Oh my God, that's awful.
Thank you.
Oh, that is horrible news for Black
Yeah.
Bears. Did the statement come from Tyson McHatton?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was just with Tyson a couple weekends ago.
Yeah,
He's a
no.
dear friend of mine from Bangor. That's so sad.
Are you moving or are you here?
I'm still coming to grips
I
with this
know,
news
sorry.
you just told me. That's horrible. I think I'm staying here, camera 8.
Okay, so I'm not, because I was going to say I'm not in this shot, right?
Yeah, it's just a single shot.
Okay.
I will say, preseason, as an athlete who did do preseason for collegiate sports, okay, Division III, so I'm not even comparing it to Division I because that's a whole nother level, but it is a lot to ask athletes, and it's the culture.
Yeah, no problem.
You check in midsummer before you go to school. Sometimes you do 2 a day, sometimes you do 3 a day, sometimes if you didn't do your conditioning over the summer, you do breakfast club, which means you're practicing 4 times a day, and you're up against the heat, and if you're not drinking the right amount of fluids and the electrolytes and all that, things can go downhill very quickly. And even if you are doing those things, you still can get sick. I had heat stroke one summer, not preseason related, summer tournament related. And it's a time where you really, oh gosh, it's just a risky time for all athletes, I think. Why is this Maine teen freaking out about a basketball at her birthday? It's a gift this young athlete will be talking about for the rest of her life.
12-year-old Caroline Hartley loves playing field hockey.
Even if you make some mistakes, there's always like someone to help cheer you on your team.
But basketball is her favorite, which would explain why she wanted a ball for her birthday.
I don't know why opening a basketball in front of my dad was so important that I had to wait to open it.
She quickly found out why.
It's WNBA tickets!
Her mom tweeting the video a few days later on her newly created account.
You know, just to get it out there for family to see and hoping maybe we'd get a tweet back.
The retweets started with birthday wishes and warm welcomes from the teams, but it captured the attention of other teams and athletes. Athletes like Breanna Stewart, whom Hartley has looked up to since 4th grade.
I was thinking, is this a dream? Should someone pinch me? Should I pinch myself? I don't know what's happening.
So the day arrived and Hartley traveled down to Connecticut. Next thing she knew, she was on the court shooting hoops, and Stewart hooked her up with official team shoes and an autographed Connecticut Sun jersey. It all started with this surprise video that has nearly 56,000 views. Hartley hopes others will support women who play professional sports.
The WNBA definitely doesn't have as many fans as the NBA, but people can still be as emotional or as happy to get WNBA tickets.
Because someday she could be meeting her fans on Twitter.
Do you hope to play professional sports in your future?
I do.
Which one?
Basketball.
And no surprises there. Her love for the game may be in her blood, actually. Her grandfather, Dick Whitmore, is in the Maine Basketball Hall of Fame.
All right, some breaking news right now. A teenage student athlete collapsed and died during a preseason football workout on the UMaine Orono campus today. The student's name is not being released at this time. The athletic director says everybody is devastated, obviously, and asks for privacy. We'll get you updates on our app and our website as soon as we get them, but just awful news up on the campus of UMaine.
All right, well, how many of us could resist a bakery right down the stairs?
So for weddings, we've done like 200 cupcakes. Yeah. I think the most we've done is probably 250 to like 300. Yeah.
Home is not just where the heart is, it's where some Maine twins cook up sweet treats. Their story coming up.
And well, with the humidity, move on. KC coming back with that forecast. Speaking of a sweet treat, see, that could be nice. Coming up.
Do you have the statement to read?
I don't.
Let me see. I think if I have Slack here.
It's in Slack though. No email. Yeah.
See, it says UMaine. Yep. It is with great sadness that we report an 18-year-old University of Maine student athlete collapsed and died during a preseason football workout on campus today. The name of the student will be released pending assurance that his family has been notified. The student athlete collapsed on the field at approximately 1:15 p.m. Campus athletics training staff and local first responders were unable to resuscitate him. Quote, the athletics department, our student athletes, and the entire campus mourn the loss of this bright and promising member of our community. We ask all to keep him, his family, and friends in your thoughts through this painful time, says UMaine President Joan Farini Mundy. UMaine Athletics is devastated by this terrible incident. We extend our deepest condolences to the family during this difficult time and ask that their privacy be respected, says UMaine Athletics Director James Satelli. Is that how you say his name?
Oh, shoot.
The
sorry. AD. Yeah, they have an interim AD right now. They're searching for a full-time athletic director.
That's devastating news. Oh. Awful. Judy says, my sympathies and prayers for the family.
I mean, it's absolutely awful. I mean, you go to, you graduate high school, you get a Division I scholarship, or you're going to play Division I football. We don't know if this young man was on scholarship or not, and you show up for camp, and you're all excited, and that's what happens. It's just an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, nightmare being an understatement even.
Hey, Jeff Schools, can you come here for 12 seconds? Just to cover our bases, can you reach out to anybody in that general area to make sure it's not that? Okay, sure. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Because it's one of 16.
Are you Okay, honestly, the In My Feelings challenge is so overplayed now, even the cows are doing it. If you haven't done it yet, don't even try, because really, can you do it better than this cow that's gone out to pasture?
Oh, by the way, law enforcement is actually asking all people to not do this at all, because people are doing it with moving cars, and they're falling out of their cars, and they're getting in the way of traffic and the safety. It's just, please, people, come on. Common sense.
Common sense.
I'm just saying. Right. Come on.
Fair enough. All right. Most people enjoy spending time with their siblings, but how much time? Holidays, special occasions, the occasional lunch?
With my sibling, all of those would be fantastic. But what about spending pretty much all of your time together, then deciding to go into business together as well? Twin sisters from Biddeford have done just that, and it has been a literal treat.
Calling in 13 minutes.
How many minutes?
13.
Angela and Colleen Lowell are pretty much always together. minus the 13 minutes that Colleen was alone waiting for her twin sister to come out, of course. So it's fitting that they are in business together with twin cakes. The two 20-year-olds say they've been baking since they were 4 and started making some dough from their dough at the age of 16.
I think it was like our family, I don't know, starting their own business. We were just kind of like, that's a good idea. And we've seen them succeed. All of them have. So we just thought, like, I think it's a really good idea.
Angela and Colleen are the youngest in a family of 6 children, all of whom were homeschooled, so having a home-based business was a very natural choice.
So I always want to be home-based, so does she. Yeah. So, like, maybe when one of us get married, I think, we'll do it, like, out of our home. Yeah. One of us will. So I always want to be home-based.
The twins specialize in cupcakes and get the majority of their orders from people who have tried their tasty treats. As for spending so much time with each other, for these siblings who even finish frosting at the same time, it's a piece of cake.
I'm usually the one that frosts cupcakes. Yeah. You're usually baking. Yeah. Or say she's making the batter and then I'm like scooping frosting. It. We're just, it kind of just is, I don't know. Works. Yeah. We usually know like what to do.
There's got to be some type of sibling rivalry, right? Like, who's the better baker?
Really, both of ours. I think it would be both. Because we just make them together, so. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it would be both of us. I couldn't say. I could not say.
Remember that Double Mint commercial with the twins that like do everything the same? I'm watching the two of them go, oh my goodness gracious. It's great. For more information about how you can get your hands on some of those unbelievable cupcakes, because I may have tried 1 or 2, you can check out the Now section of our website.
Okay, check this out. Even in the fog, Mainers and visitors are outside having fun this summer. It wasn't too hot, but the humidity really wasn't helping people stay cool. You know, in the summer, we would still go to the beach on days like this when I was growing up.
Well, went to the beach today?
I think so. That was from today. Yeah. I would still go to the beach on days like today with my family because that's really all there was to do for us.
You don't need the sun to go to the beach. If it's warm, go.
No, you can actually get burnt pretty easy through fog, as it turns out.
Really?
This is a great text from KRX that I got a couple of days ago. She's like, there's this weird low cloud out over the ocean. Do you have any idea what it is? And I responded, are you serious? It's fog. Like it was coming in from the ocean.
She can't even defend herself.
Yeah, I know. Do you have a mic, Karen?
That's an unprovoked attack right
She had to give her mic back.
Not fair.
That's all right. It's all
Not
good.
fair.
Limited time
now
to do this.
Scrambling to get her a microphone.
Yeah. There's really no defense for it, so it's kind of irrelevant. It was fog. There was a lot of fog today. Temperatures in the 80s, 87 officially in Freiburg. It was pretty hot out there. Dew Point's nasty too, 73 for Dew Point in Freiburg, 70 in Portland, 71 in Wiscasset. So we have high humidity, and as Lee and Lindsay were talking about, it was actually warm enough to go to the beach, even though we did have a hard time getting out of that fog. Here's a look at the current satellite picture. You can still see the fog bank right off the coastline in a lot of spots. It's still in the coast over parts of the mid-coast. The rest of us actually saw a partly cloudy to mostly sunny day. It was actually pretty nice away from the immediate coastline. Showers have started to pop up. A couple of these cells could be a little bit nastier here over parts of New Hampshire, just drifting into the mountains over the next hour or two, so we'll watch that. The time of day makes me think they'll tend to die down in the next few hours. So our forecast showing you those showers and storms pulsing down. Tonight, thick fog again along the entire coastline, even into the interior. Now tomorrow we have a hard time burning any of that off. I think we stay mostly cloudy, a couple of showers around, not an overly wet day, but there will be a few showers and storms. And then Wednesday night we get into a bigger pulse of energy. Wednesday night through Thursday. Thursday is downpours, almost a washout there with 1 inch to 2 inches of rain. Here's what the Euro is thinking. Now, it may be overdoing this a bit, giving us widespread 2+ inch amounts, but there's a lot of precipitable water in the atmosphere, so there's a lot of moisture to work with. Any of these showers and storms will have some heavy downpours. So, you know, as I alluded to there just a few minutes ago, we will have a little break in the humidity late this weekend, but as you look into next week, just look at the greens, the dark greens, that's the very humid air. It comes back mid to late next week. So net, we're probably looking at about 2 total weeks of high humidity and showers and storms. I like Friday, by the way. I put a shower in there. I think most of us are dry, and we're in the mid-80s in a lot of spots. So Friday is nice. Saturday, scattered showers and storms. Sunday's decent as well. And then we might dry out a bit Monday, Tuesday before returning to the humidity next week. So, and as I mentioned to you guys, I think last week, we're running way above average temperature-wise because it's just been so warm overnight too. We're not dropping much overnight.
Just be careful on your walk back to the weather office.
Because of the cloud
Christina's waiting for you.
We don't know what it is.
Good luck with that.
I think it's a new cloud.
Ivanka Trump is shutting down her namesake clothing line. The 18 employees were notified today. Ivanka's brand really got caught in the middle of her family's politics and business practices in the last few years. Nordstrom dropped the line last year because of slow sales. Ivanka sold clothes and shoes and accessories, but she told CNBC today that she wants to focus on her responsibilities in the White House and avoid any potential conflicts of interest. Ivanka said in a statement, "After 17 months in Washington, I do not know when or if I'll ever return to business, but I do know that my focus for the foreseeable future will be the work I'm doing here in Washington."
And while we're on the topic, another big change in her life. She's getting a new sister-in-law. Supermodel Carly Kloss is joining the Kushner family. Kloss announced her engagement to Jared's younger brother Josh today on Twitter. Josh and Carly started dating in 2012.
All right, we have an update for you now about the 18-year-old student athlete who collapsed and died at UMaine preseason football workout this afternoon. His family is asking for privacy at this time. His name is not being released. It happened about 1 o'clock this afternoon on the field. Campus and athletic training staff tried to save him, but he could not be resuscitated. Now, the university president released a statement this afternoon saying that everybody is mourning the loss of this bright and promising member of our community. Obviously very sad, and as we get more details, we will pass them along to you.
Okay, Pat Callahan is on deck for our next half hour of local news. He has a preview. Hey, Pat.
Hi, Lindsay and Lee. Much of downtown Bath will soon be under new ownership. 18 buildings will be changing hands, but the hope is the coastal town will hold on to its singular charm. News Center's Don Carrigan will show us how it's going to play out. And if you missed the morning report today, you missed out. But we have the best moments from the Today Show's visit to Georgetown. Al Roker on hand. Had a lot of fun there. That and more coming up in the next half hour on News Center at 5:30. See you then.
All right, more News Center now when we come back.
Good job, Brace. Thank you. The cow, Tammy, was cool. I will give you that the Drake music video cow part was cool, but just before we went on the air, I actually was just sharing this with all the people on the Now team before we went on the air. Law enforcement is not happy, is soups unhappy about this, because there are people who are getting out of moving cars so they can shoot their little video, and they're falling out of the car.
I didn't know that this was a thing, though.
They're getting in the way of traffic of other cars, and I mean, they're getting injured. One guy's like, he fell out, and he's like,
how long has this been a thing for?
I mean, the past couple of weeks.
What? Why have I never heard of this
until
now?
I saw Will Smith did it. He did it in a controlled setting with some safety. He climbed up on top of, not anymore we don't. He climbed on top of a rooftop, and there was like a drone, and he really did it. And everybody, I'm not saying he started it, but that's the first time I saw it. And now everybody's been trying it, and it's not going well for a lot of people, and they're getting injured because they're doing this from moving cars. So clearly not the smartest move.
No, it's like
so that's what they're mad about. Like, come on.
Wasn't like a few years ago ghost riding a thing too, where you would like drive a car, make it look like no one was driving? Was that a long time ago?
Yeah, but yes.
Was that like? Is that like?
It was like 10 years ago.
Was it 10 years ago? So. That feels like yesterday.
Ghost ride? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that was
like when the Dirty South.
I guess that was when I was in high school.
We're talking about this music video. Well, it's not a music video. It's a song by the rapper Drake, and people have taken it upon themselves to.
Anybody who likes Drake?
Not that works here currently.
Oh. Yeah.
No. No, I said I know who his biggest fan is. He just doesn't work here anymore.
Yeah.
He did that video.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I watched it over the weekend, and I texted him, and what are you doing?
He was in a parking lot, I think.
It was moving. The car was moving. Yeah. Now, he didn't get out of the moving car.
No, he was already out.
He was already out, which is relatively better.
You could just lose the door.
But, I mean, come on.
All right, I see sharks, I see crocodiles, I see tapeworm, I see all things I don't like.
Yeah.
Although, there's one thing missing here that I really don't like, and that is jellyfish. No, I'll take spiders all day.
I don't think jellyfish.
Hey, are we doing...
No, I'm not worried about dying from jellyfish. I'm worried about touching a jellyfish.
It is a great time of year to check out the botanical gardens. You may even see some rare wildlife in its natural habitat we found this gem while we were checking out our favorite. It is Snap Maps.
I love Snap Maps. Okay, all the things that you're about to see on this board behind us, I mean, except for humans, but some of these things make me scared.
Humans are pretty scary. Okay, so this was a great Gates Notes, which is Bill Gates' blog. It's pretty interesting, but he talks about how people are afraid of the wrong things statistically, and this is a great graphic about sharks kill about 10 people a year, wolves kill about 10, elephants 100, which actually surprised me a little bit. But you start looking at some of these more innocuous-looking creatures, like a dog, 25,000. Freshwater snail, I had to look that one up. It's because they carry a parasite that can kill people, and
so like if you step on it or something.
No, it's more often actually indirect contact, like it gets into water, someone's water or something.
So I feel like you should be able to get away from the snail.
Yes, you can get away from the parasite. Is in the same thing with an assassin bug. These are parasitic; they carry parasites. Snakes, pretty obvious. Humans, really obvious, and then mosquitoes. They're still the biggest. They're transmitting all of those diseases, but it's so true. I mean, some of these are not scary, and these seem really scary, but the chances of it.
I'm surprised with these two that I think it would be reversed.
That humans would kill more people than mosquitoes?
Right.
Probably depends on the year.
Okay.
Right, if there's a big war, it's more humans, but this is on average. But I thought it was an interesting visual, you know?
Very interesting.
Dachshunds don't kill that many.
I gotta process this.
Pat Callahan will not kill you. He's up next with your Center Main at 5:30.
Straight ahead in this half hour.
Because if I had gone that morning, it could have been me that Tyler hit that day.